I wanted to do a quick video on Clover Health, CLOV. Yeah, I've already done a video on it, and so if you watched that one, if you got on that play, this is basically the same thing. The last video I feel like was a little early, but the thesis and everything is still right. So if you watched the original video, we were talking about a gamma squeeze, okay, which is as soon as that price moves over a certain point on the option chain, the open interest on the option chain forces the price more even higher because of the delta hedging that has to happen, and it keeps pushing this price higher and higher and higher. We're looking at different price targets and everything else. Well, the reason I'm making this video today is because one, that hasn't changed. The open interest is still there on the option chain, and there's even more open interest on there. Okay. On top of that, um, you know, in the last video, I talked about CLOV had roughly 100 million in the float, and since then, the new short interest numbers that came out recently put it at somewhere in the high 30% range in terms of short interest. So I think that also gives us the potential for not only a gamma squeeze, but if things really kick off, it could turn into a little mini short squeeze too, which would really get this price going. Okay, so um, when we first made that other video, it was a couple weeks back, and like I said, I think I was kind of early in the game. I noticed all that open interest somewhere around here. I think we bought some options here at like the $10 strike. I had said if price moved above 10, we would really get some upward momentum. We did. Some people I talked to, I know, got out somewhere in here at the $11 range, made a nice profit. Some people ended up holding. I actually held my position too. And then, as you can see, the next probably week, the entire market was just in a huge downward trend. I mean, everybody, almost any position in any stock did poorly over the last week. So, shit happens. But Clove is still sitting right now around $8, which is a lot cheaper than where it was at when I made this video 2 weeks ago. And if you remember the video 2 weeks ago, or even if you don't, we were talking about the May 21st options expiration. Well, May 21st hasn't came yet. So, and the open interest is still there. So we still have the potential for this gamma squeeze. If we look at the options chart here, now we're more out of the money, when we were talking about this $10 strike, but because of that, the price went down. So right now you can pick up a $10 strike for $25, $11 strike for $20, and so on. But this open interest is what's intrigued me the first time, and like I said, it's continued to grow. And so what that tells me is the people who actually loaded this option chain up, which I know I discussed in my previous video, I don't believe is retail. That had to be some big whale or something that went in there. I mean, we're talking 50,000 open contracts, 64,000 at the $10 strike, 27,000. I mean, all the way down to, even if we look here at the $30 strike, if we get lucky enough and it hits that high, you have 35,000 option contracts going in the money. And what happens with these is, because we're getting closer to the May 21st date, the delta hedging amplifies even more. Back when I made the initial video, I think in the money, like right at the money, calls were at like a 0.6 delta, meaning that 60 shares had to be hedged for every contract. Now it's somewhere around 0.69. By Monday, it'll be even higher. Now, what's going to make it ramp up this time? What's going to give it that momentum? It has to get to 9. It has to get to 10. It has to get to 11. Well, they're having earnings on Monday morning, May 17th. So, and what's kind of weird about this and why I'm even more bullish about it is because when I made the last video 2 weeks ago, their earnings, I think, were supposed to be May 19th or May 20th. So they were looking at like a Thursday date for their earnings, and they pushed it up. They chose to go Monday morning before market open. To me, if they're doing that, it's maybe they're expecting positive earnings. But if you follow the market, sometimes positive earnings don't even really mean shit. You can have positive earnings and the stock tanks. You could have bad earnings and the stock skyrockets. What's important is we have a catalyst. So we're hanging around this $8 price range. if we get some upward movement, the next couple days, Monday morning, we have this catalyst, earnings get announced, maybe we get some more retail buy-in pressure, extra volume because of that, and we get that push. And now we're talking, as we start looking upwards, what I'm thinking 10, 11, get to the 1250 mark. And then there's the high short interest on this stock. I mean, 30% is still high. 35% is high short interest. You have 100 million shares in the float. That means that you're looking at something like 35 to 40 million shares are shorted out there, right? So if the gamma squeeze kicks off and starts getting that upward buying pressure, now we might have a short squeeze kick off right in the middle of it. And then you have FOMO, you got, any sort of retail hype and things on social media, Reddit, and everybody else that might be trying to get in and pile on. I mean, we might see a huge volume day on Monday. That's what I'm banking on. I'm going to buy some more options. I already have some, but I'm going to buy some more starting first thing tomorrow morning because I want to get on this while it's cheap. So what I'm looking at is going in just because it's there now, $25 at $10 at the $10 strike. I can pick up 10 of those for $250. And for me, when I do these option plays and I say that I like to bet and that sort of thing, this is a perfect bet. So for $250, I can grab 10 call contracts. If this price does what I think it can do and gets this gamma squeeze pressure mixed in with some short squeeze, and we get all the way to 20, you're looking at probably that $250 bet that we put down on 10 contracts can easily turn into 10K just by getting the price up to $20. And I know I say just getting it up there, that's double what it's trading at today, but those are the type of things that can happen when you have this large open interest, you have a high short percentage, we have a catalyst, and if we get, like I said, get some retail momentum behind it, I think it can easily run upwards of 20. And if we get lucky, maybe it runs upwards of 30. So now that $250 bet might net $20,000. Okay, so to me, good risk versus reward. Obviously, there's a possibility that nothing happens. When you're talking about a gamma squeeze, that means that you have market makers on the other end that need to hedge, and they're obviously going to be trying to drive that price down because they don't want to get into that type of situation where now they have to go into the market and buy almost 50 million shares, 60 million shares, which is almost the entire float. And then anyone who's short this stock, if it's really as heavily shorted as it's being reported, they obviously don't want it to go that low either, right? Go that high either. So then you're going to have people, a lot of short pressure probably on that same day trying to keep the price down. But what I was banking on in my first video, and I'm even more banking on now, is that there's some big money behind this that's going to move that price for us. Okay, so like I explained before, 64,000 open calls at the $10 strike, 50,000 open calls at the 1250 strike. That's not all retail. There's some big money going in there and putting that type of money down. Big money that can go in and buy the stocks to move this thing. That's what I was banking on before, and the fact that none of these calls got sold when we had that run up a couple weeks ago to $12 tells me that this was more of a long-term play. Okay, so May 21st, the expiration on this is 10 days away, but in terms of Monday, we have 4 more trading days. I'm going to look to get in tomorrow, like I said, while this price is low, because what I expect to happen is as we get closer to Friday, the price is going to keep inching up, hopefully get near that $9 area so that on, earnings come out on Monday, price can really get pushed into 9, 10, 11, and we're right there within striking distance. So hope you enjoyed the video. I'm thinking this could be a really huge play. I'm hoping it's going to be a really huge play, but at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, to me, risk reward is definitely worth it in this one. Okay? Have a good night.